Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to Odoo for beginners. Today I am creating a new playlist which is that incoming outgoing email server setup. Okay, but this video is not on that, but here it's like that how you can configure user wise outgoing email server setup using the from filtering feature. Okay, what happens here, user that Odoo picks that SMTP server email ID that used to send the quotations, and that email ID is going to use. Okay, but in mostly business scenario, what happens that if you have two users, that the main requirement is that if user one is sharing that quotation, then the his or her email ID will be used, and if another will be there, then her and his email ID will be used. We will check both cases. Here, most important feature is from filtering, which is in the outgoing email server setup. In first case, we will use that scenario without from filtering, and next with from filtering. We can see that exact difference and everything will be work perfectly. So without wasting the time, let's jump to that. Here, I will prepare that separate video that how you can configure, but just I have configured already two outgoing email server setup. Here you can see that this is one which is the outgoing email one. I haven't used any of the from filtering, and the username is gold like that. Okay, and second user is another. This is my second one, and here again I am not using any from filtering. Okay, and now this is my username. So this is two, and here what happens? Priority base, Odoo will use this email ID, and then that next process will be go ahead. So let's check on that. Currently I am logged in that particular this email ID. Case number one is that we are not using any from filtering now. Okay, now I'm just going to one sales order. Okay, and I'm creating one for that taste company. Let me check what the email ID is there. Okay, yeah, I have already configured one particular separate email, separate inbox for this email ID. Okay, so it will be more effective. Okay, now this is the 42. We are going to send some of the products in the quantity of that. Okay, now thing is that I'm going to send this email. Okay, so what happens? Odoo will share that quotation to that particular customer. I'm just going to send it. Now step number one is clear. Now I'm going to open that inbox. So let me jump to that. Okay, no, that is not for that. Okay, this is my inbox, and if you will check the quotation, the 42, and here we can see that I am logged in that goal 19, the username is goal 19, and his or her email ID is there. So this works perfectly. Now here we have configured the another outgoing email server setup, but in that from filtering is not there. So now I am going to log in that. Here we can see that PPS for this user we have created that outgoing email server setup. Now I am just going to do the same process. Okay, I am creating the sales order. I am selecting that taste company, and I am adding some of the products. Confirm. Now just I am going to send it by. Make sure, please be sure that I am sharing that quotation by the user of PPS. Okay, and now just I am going to send it. Check the inbox. So now let me open the inbox. So now I'm just going to refresh it. Here we can see that email ID is this, inbox is there, but now here you can see that the name of user is there and the email ID is not that user specific. It's a priority base. First one goal 41986 at the gmail.com. So this is the first case. We are not using the from filtering. So now in that case, if you have configured the other users outgoing email server setup, Odoo is not going to pick up his or her specific email ID. Now let's check the case number 2. So let me jump to that. Now we are in that outgoing email server setups. Now I'm going to use that from filtering feature. I'm just going to copy and paste. For the next one, I am just going to do that process again. Now let's do the same case for that goal. Now let's do that sales order. Let me duplicate. For the time saving, I am going to send it by email. So email will be forwarded to that customer. Let's check inbox for that particular customer. So now let's check it. 44, and here you can see that this is the same. Goal 19, this is the same in the previous case also. Now let's check for that this user PPS. Now C is logged in to her database and C is going to share that quotations. So let's do it. Duplicate. Going to send by the email. Now send it. Now let's check the inbox. So for that, let me go to that. Fine. And here we can see that it's a PPS user's name and user specific email ID is that. It's a great. So by just using that from filtering feature, that you can share that email by user wise using the Odoo standard. Okay, if you want to configure for the others users, then you can do as multiple as you can. But here the thing is that you have to just add the from filtering of that users. You can try from your sides and let me know if you have any queries for that. Thank you.